proudest day and the proudest time in the seat of a rally car, because that day and that hour and those minutes, I got the bit between my teeth. You know, I really stood up and was counted and said, this is not getting away. I remember when we pulled on our helmets and Donald says to me, what are we doing? I said, we're going for gold, Barrett. That's all was said. I can still picture that run. That was just the best run ever.
Welcome to Krunching Gears, the Rally Podcast, Season 3, Episode 31. And Conor, we're going to talk rallying again, but this time we're post Donegal. We're getting a wee bit of the blues, but what a fantastic rally it really was.
It was a brilliant rally, and I would say it's more than a wee bit of the blues. It's, all the build up, and it's hard to believe it's over, and it's over by a week.
Yeah, from we're recording this now, this time last week, but I know this is a part one of a two-parter, and we're going to concentrate here on the two-wheel drive battles, But what can we say about the rally? Started off scrutineering, but the ceremonial start really kicked things off, and what a build-up, what a buzz! It just set the scene for the whole weekend, and it just kind of continued to roll from there.
It did. Like the crowds, the atmosphere, the pure buzz around Letterkenny and the county. It really was. It was like, I have to say, personally, one of the most enjoyable Donegal rallies I've had in quite a few years. I thought it was a fantastic event.
That's for sure. And as we said, we're really looking at the two-wheel drive battle, and what a battle it was. So, just give you a wee flavour of who we were speaking to, but please like, share, subscribe, rate, all those things makes a huge difference. So we caught up with Declan Gallagher, Gary McPhillips. Unfortunately, Gary, his internet dropped and we lost him halfway through the conversation. David Moffett and Martin Connolly. And then you get a chance to catch up with Hollie McRae, and we'll hear about her Donegal adventure. And then Conor Harvey, Chris O'Callaghan, Conor Curley, Colin Donahue, Frank Kelly and Oli Benton then join us for a bit of crack as well too, because we often hear about the Mark II, that whole modified banter and all that, and we wanted to sort of try and get a wee flavour of it, and by God, I think we managed it, didn't we, Conor?
Oh, we definitely did, and I think people will enjoy when they get to that part of the podcast, listening to the banter and the crack between them and the ribbing of each other as well.
Definitely. But yeah, before we get going, I suppose that two-wheel drive battle, it was unbelievable. It was just it was the gift that kept on giving. We thought at the end of the first stage, three of the main guys gone out of the battle. We thought this is going to fall a bit flat. No, it just kept. We changed the lead. We had drama. We had it was something else. The new stages and then a show delivered in spades. Everything it was one of those weekends, as I said to somebody, it was a Carlsberg rally, if Carlsberg done rallying, Donegal would have fitted that bill, really, wouldn't it?
Look, it was fantastic, and it delivered all 3 days. Every day there was a new twist, a new turn, which was great. It wasn't done and dusted by midday Saturday or anything like that. It kept going and up to Sunday morning, and we had drama on Sunday morning, and I was just like, okay, what's gonna happen next?
Yeah, and your heart has to go out to Kevin Gallagher going for the three in the row, and just a wire come off, and that just sometimes something so simple can just be the difference, and unfortunately that's rallying times.
Look, it genuinely is. Like, Kevin, he was fast from the get-go, and then got pipped for the lead Saturday evening, and Sunday morning came out all guns blazing. Like, he set an incredible time on the first stage of Sunday morning, and then, as you say, for an issue to occur so close to the end of the day.
Yeah, because them first two stages, I think he was come from 1 second behind to 16 or 17 seconds in lead. I think it was. I can't just remember exactly, but it was phenomenal. The pace over them two stages. But I know here, no point in us telling you all about it. Let's hear from some of the main contenders. And first of all, we'll hear from Declan Gallagher. That will go on then to Gary McPhillips, David Moffett, and Martin Connolly. So the two-wheel drive podium from last weekend. Third place, David Martin in the started. Second, Gary McPhillips. But the winner. The two-wheel drive winner is the 2024 Walking Recycling Donegal Rally, Declan Gallagher. Declan, we're nearly a week later, but does it still sound good?
It does. Sounds good, alright, Kevin. Some again now, in fairness. Start to finish was class now.
Yeah, because there was something really special about it last weekend. It kicked off right from the start. The ceremonial start, the crowds, the atmosphere there on Thursday evening before the rally even started. Nice to bring rallying into the people and to see the welcome it got from the people of Letterkenny. There was just something very nice about that.
Ceremonial start was deadly. Now, in fairness, it was a great atmosphere and massive crowd there. And there were plenty of events for people to. They made a bit of an event out of it, rather than just seeing cars going over the ramp. Like, it was class.
Yeah, because there's a bit of music and a bit of dancing, and and they were giving out like posters for for young people to get signed and all that. And as you say, that we're making an event out of it, and that's the next generation. That could there could be young people there that will be in 10 years time want to get involved in rallying because it sparked a memory from that night.
No, it was definitely it was a big change from other years now. From when I started, it was a great. It got everybody kind of. It was very relaxed for the drivers, and stuff. Sat about and chat before it, and even for people then that would have no real interest in rallying and stuff, it gave it a bit of a kind of a festival feeling or whatever. It was good now.
That's for sure. And Gary, we've seen in the past that the start was going into the theatre on the Friday morning and come out and then straight into the car and away. That sort of involved everybody. The people of Donegal really took this in and come out in their droves there last Thursday night.
Yeah, but I not last year, the year before, and I don't know if there was a good. It was down the street on the Friday or the Thursday evening as well, which is really good. I think I preferred the driver's briefing on the Friday morning nearly because after a long week you're sort of driver's briefing at 9 o'clock and it run on to 10:30. It was nearly 11 before you're back. So the last year I don't know if the activities was downtown was very good, but I think I preferred the driver's briefing on the Friday morning. So this is just a real sort of late evening, and then you're straight into it. Friday morning, really, you can know what extra drives to do and everything else. But the driver's briefing, I think I rather did on the Friday morning.
Because there was something very special about the Friday morning briefing as well too, because there was the music, there was the presentation, Damien Crawford the way he presented it, and then that Living on the Edge by Aerosmith. You come out of the driver's briefing on the Friday morning, you were ready to go.
Yeah, on the Friday, I was always a good buzz about it. As you say, Damien Crawford was always something that he'd put on, a good entertaining show. And then, all the drivers, they're all nervous and we're all standing outside the theatre chatting and talking about, and where this year you were sort of straight into the yokes nearly in a way, so I missed that a wee bit, but, still the Thursday evening was a great evening.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, because David, we often talked about in previous times and hiding away, rallying not being front and centre. We have to be bringing it into the towns. We have to sort of show everybody else that this is very, this is look at us, we're here.
Yeah, well, look at Letterkenny doesn't seem to be able to avoid the rally. Rally cars is one thing, but the other traffic's pretty incredible too, what it brings. But it's good to show the real part of the rally to the people of Letterkenny, I suppose.
Mm-hmm.
There's a lot of people believe Donegal Rally is Lexuses and doing donuts. But seeing all the cars in there and being able to talk to drivers and stuff, it probably brings a bit of that.
Yeah, for sure. And Martin, and probably from a co-driver's point of view, something like that's almost a hassle because you want to be home, you want to be tidying up your notes, you want to be, getting prepped for the next day and all that. But I suppose, we have to live with some of that razzmatazz to help to promote the sport.
Yeah, listen, you want to get home and get sorted from a navigator's point of view, tidying the notes and stuff, but I think it's important to bring it to the town and bring it to the people. As David touched on, it doesn't get to Letterkenny, it moves out of Letterkenny, it moves around. But to do that on a Thursday evening, even the atmosphere, and you see young kids and people around, it's excellent for that, and it's an opportunity that they use quite well. So I think it's very good that way.
Yeah, for sure. And then Friday morning, heading away out to to Carndonagh for to hit the first stage in Malin. It's a long trek out, but does that give you a chance then, Martin, maybe to get the nerves settled in the car and all before hitting on to the first stage?
Yeah, I suppose I'm not too bad nerves wise. I don't really have them, thank God. But I guess it's a good drive out. You're checking the phone, see is the rain coming, and we're certainly doing that on Friday morning, a good bit out the road. But yeah, it's a good track out. And to be fair, I've never done it out there over the years I've competed, so it was good to bring it out there. And there are iconic stages out there too. And you know, Manmore Gap, for example, like I think it was only used in 2001 previously. So to get the chance to do that, it was very good. And to spend the day out there for those stages is worth the drive. Like you don't mind driving once the stages give you the format that they did out there. Like
Yeah, because David, I suppose just like sort of echoing from what you're saying, you don't mind the trek if it's good stages, and especially Malin, it's probably talked about as one of the iconic stages in Ireland. Never mind Donegal.
Yeah, I did in Malin actually in the juniors in 2011, I think it was. Myself and Daniel Breslin, who was back out as well, actually. And they were great stages. I had a vague memory of it, like, but the views and the scenery out around Malin and the roads as well. And they're quite a different challenge, quite bumpy and different to what you get on Saturday and Sunday. So it was a nice additional challenge, I think. And the fact that most people hadn't been out there before also sort of made it a good challenge and even the playing field a wee bit.
Yes, for sure. And like Gary, we spoke about, in the preview to the event, like you had recollections of the stage, but probably weren't overly familiar with them. Once you were back on them again, did the old feelings come back again?
Yeah, that Malin stage, it's a first class stage. I really enjoyed it. Once we got started in and got into it, it's a lovely stage to drive, and it was just a pity it didn't say dry for all of Friday because there were three good stages. So there, and even that Mamor Gap was was a really fast flowing stage. I love that wee bit at the end, the tight wee section. It was still high speed stuff. There were great stages on Friday. So it was.
I think Declan, you probably first stage probably was a wee bit unsettling for you because Mark Alcorn went off in front of you and one thing else. Does that sort of disrupt the flow, or were you fit to still enjoy the challenge of Malin on that first pass?
I know Malin was good now, in fairness. Surely it definitely interrupted the flow a bit with Mark's accent. This, the spectators were slowing us down a lot way before it. There were a big long straight coming up to it, and they were kind of slowing us down halfway up the straight. And it was hard to know, was there a car off in the middle of the straight or was there a car off around the corner? But when we approached the corner, then like we were more or less stopped. But we seen then they were okay. Darn, we ended up the okay board, but we were well slowed, and we were starting to get going in the stage, and you had to go again then. But no, they're definitely great stages, as Gary was saying, like if they'd have stayed dry now, it'd have been nicer again, But I suppose the Mamor Gap one as well was there were three brilliant stages. It's good to get away up there and do them stages because there's my first time doing them, and you would like to do them again in the future for sure. Like,
Yeah, because the fact that Donegal can go to a different region and bring in three really good stages like that just shows you the depth that's in the roads here in this county.
oh, it's deadly altogether. Like when you see like that's three brilliant stages that they used there this year. The three brilliant stages last year in Donegal town as well, and even they could change it about again to the likes of Brina and Clark and the wee convoy stage. It's great that they have that selection of stages to use and rotate it about year on.
And as I said to Martin there, like you're heading out to that first stage, you're leaving there to Kenny, and it's a long old drive out to Cairn. Does that, is there nerves in the car, or does it take, does that drive kind of settle all, and you're nearly chomping at the bit then to get going?
I well, suppose Friday morning it would have been nervy, right? Like, as Martin or somebody said there, you're looking away for the weather and see what tires you're going to put on, and really you don't get the nerves is there until you're counted down to the start of the first stage. Really, but the long drive is it's good and bad. I suppose it settle you a wee bit maybe, but it's worth the drive when you can go away and get to do stages like that there. You know, the stages they're really enjoyable stages, and even the drive wouldn't put me off now of going to use stages like that. Definitely not.
And you were saying there, the head's sort of like a wee bit busy, but once you drop the clutch, does the head clear and you're just fully in the zone then?
Well, I suppose you're trying to go with the flow of the road, and really the nerves is gone then definitely, for me in a way, I would be nervous heading out to the first stage, and but once you're way into the stage, the nerves are gone then, I know for definite.
I think, Gary, that's what, I can never get my head around it. The way you guys are able to just switch it on, like you can be standing at the side laughing and joking, but once the race head's on, different animal inside the helmet there.
Yeah, sure. The start of the stage, you'd be all nervous and to get going, but once the clock counts down, I think, you might take you the first kilometre or two, you could be a bit fidgety in the car, maybe, but I think if you can just settle down and get a bit, I was even on that first stage, really, I was a bit unnervy, and when I come across Mark's accident, I just, for some reason, I think just after I got past his car, I just settled in to the stage something, and we had a good cut through that first one, and once we that first couple of kilometres over here, that was it for me. I was, was happy and content in the car, to push on, and and really, and then started to enjoy it from there on. Then.
Because, like, David, it is crazy, like, to jump, from your ordinary road going car into, this 2.5 projectile that wants to throw you down the road as quick as you can, and you're sitting in your nice road car, you've all the luxuries, you're in this animal that just, you want to get down that road as quick as you can. It must be a great feeling on the Friday morning just to drop the clutch and go.
Yeah, you're asking about nerves, but like once you're off the start line, it's the last thing in your mind. You've enough to think about. The stuff's going by pretty quick. But in fairness, most people that have got into 2.5 cars have served their time in other classes and built their way up to it. And I suppose you become slightly numb to the speed and the power because you're used to it as such. But there's also a lot of, they're a brave handful, like, they keep on the road and try and go as fast as you can.
And then the changeable conditions as well too, because then the tyres become almost a bit of a lottery at times. Does that play in your head, or do you nearly have to commit to what tyres you've on? You nearly have to tell yourself this is the best tyre for this condition.
Yeah, look, it obviously sort of stayed dry-ish. The tyres are always going to be a bit mixed in your next conditions, but you have to try and wait for the grip to try and get away with the heat in and get some grip come in. And I mean, try and stay on the road is the bigger thing when it turns wet. Richard, unfortunately, had a spin when it was in one of the shiny bits in Malin, and you have to try and not do that because that takes you out of the race immediately.
Yeah. And like Martin, can you feel the difference in the car if the driver's nervous, if the driver's whenever it clicks in, when he settles down, does that nervousness translate through the car? Maybe that's where I'm coming from.
Yeah, it certainly does. Like you sort of know whether David's on it or he's not on it. You know what I mean? And so what I try to do is just getting a good flow, between me and him, which is important because once you do that, it sort of clicks. If you're not in a flow, if I'm too far ahead or God forbid late or something like that, it's unset in the car. You know what I mean? So big thing we focus on is just get a flow and get at it, and try and keep that flow from start to finish during them first few stages, and it works.
Yeah, because we've seen there in Monaghan, like you stop, a side by side through a stage, and the two brothers, identical times. Like you couldn't set out to do that if you tried. Like, that was just amazing how equal. And there's certain places that Richard's a wee bit quicker. There's certain places David was a wee bit quicker. Like how you could do that, it was just defies belief.
Yeah, it was a good watch that one now, to be fair. I couldn't believe we was at the same time that time. Because we actually hadn't beat Richard in too many stages in the 2.5 car yet. So we got a clean sweep out of him on Friday in Donegal, thankfully. But yeah, it was impressive now, that's it. They're so precise, these cars, and they know it's have to be right, and that's a prime example, and everything's working. Like it does work, and the two of us in Monaghan on that stage was set at the same time. So it's a good example. Once you're in the flow, it does work. Like, and two cars are pretty much even now too as well. So it's just good to see the two boys going at it, and to match each other was amazing. Like.
Yeah, because like David, like there's up until now, like as Martin was saying, Richard probably had the bragging rights around the dinner table, but like to set them down like the way you're able to lay them out there and show you side by side, like you can see, oh, that's where he's getting a wee bit of time than me, or he's looking at it going, oh, he's a wee bit quicker there, and like, do you look at that and do you think, oh right, I must try that next time, or?
Usually look at it and think, how the hell did Declan do that? But no, in Monaghan, like we were close enough racing, and we would be close in a lot of times. In fairness, there's literally 10 or 12 cars that are generally pretty close. Behind Declan and Donegal, in fairness, there was loads of people swapping times in there thereabouts. But it's funny that the times just ended up exactly the same. As the day went on, there was bigger gaps appeared. He's had an awful run of mechanical trouble. None of any of the times he's had that were decent haven't converted really, and he really hasn't had a good run in probably 12 months now. But that's how it goes. It sort of swings around and comes back usually.
That's it. Because we've seen it before. Like people go through, and then suddenly the next rally they go out, and everything just clicks again. It's just sometimes it's just that it's a rub of the green if it's good luck, and then it's just other days. No matter what you do, it just doesn't work for you.
Yeah, well, that's it. And like we did have our problems in Donegal, but thankfully none of them took us out of the event. He had an electrical problem on Saturday and it was game over. So you don't know what's going to happen. It's the same for everybody that way.
Declan, Friday afternoon, like yourself and Kevin, there was just, I don't know whether you just seemed to hit a stream of form. Like we know what Kevin can do, and like you've been so long out of the seat. You done it. You showed it in Limerick, until you retired. But then Baltinglass, there was a different level there. What clicked or what happened? Was it just determination? Was it something you found in your driving, or what helped to kick you on?
I don't know, Kevin. Like we went to Munster, and we're only starting the extra stage at the car at the Duff gave up on it that day, stage 6, I think it was, and it was just that kind of stage where we're starting to get things right, the braking right, and the corner speed was right, and everything seemed to be clicking for that stage, and I felt then like we'd need a bit more seat time going to Donegal, and we're probably Baltinglass was only a week later, so we're only out of the seat a week, and then we got real good mileage in Baltinglass, and I suppose we're only out of the seat then again 2 weeks, but like I felt going into the event like I was as ready as ever was for Donegal Rally. I was in good a shape, because I got that bit of extra seat time, and the car felt really good. We even made some changes to the car even after Baltinglass, and probably my own physical fitness was a wee bit better, and everything just was seemed to be working at the time, and we had a lot of a lot of time and effort put into them rallies beforehand, and it seemed to pay off. It probably got the pace up that wee bit more.
Yeah, because I suppose like the way rallying is now, you can't bed yourself in now in the Friday morning. It has to be you have to be prepared to go hard right from the very first stage.
Yeah, definitely. Like especially with somebody like Kevin, anyway. Like uh, you can't let Kevin get ahead really if you're going to race him. Surely he took big chunks of time. It was on both runs over Knockalla, and like you know we took a bit of time back on him probably on Saturday evening, but our time from the first stage then wasn't amended until Saturday evening. So it was more or less going into I was more or less going on Sunday morning on a clean slate again. But like, Kevin showed us what he could really do on Sunday morning. Then he took 17 out of us, I think, in the first two stages. Like, and it was looking like that was, if he'd have stayed going, we wouldn't have been beating them. Like, so, but no, like, realistically, you say you can relax on Friday, but you really can't. You can't drop too much time on Friday, really.
No, because you can't wander Ollie on Friday, but you can surely lose it. Like, because if you do something silly or you drop too much time, you're never going to make it all back.
No, definitely not. Like, surely you have, like, if you drop 20 or 30 seconds on Friday, yeah, it's especially when you're going to Knockalla on Saturday morning. That's somewhere you'd need to have a lead going to Knockalla. Never mind a deficit. So it was good. Like, it was really good, in fairness.
Aye. And like, do you know, like, even starting knock Knockalla, do you have a kind of like a number in your head? You're thinking, right, if he takes 10 out of me, I'll be happy enough with that, or do you just have to kind of forget that it's his home stage and just try and go as hard as you possibly can over it?
Look at I think the closest we got to Kevin on Knockalla was 12, maybe. In previous years, and I think the first time he took 10, but he spun. So he would have took more than that. And the second time he took 12, and he had a problem the second time too with the chicane or something. So no, it's it's something else what he can do over Knockall and that machine now, in fairness.
Yeah, because like David, it's his home stage, yeah, and all that. But you still have to drive that road that's in front of you, like that. For most other stages, like it's a second, it's three, it's two, it's whatever. To suddenly take 10 or 12, that takes massive commitment from the two guys in that car.
Absolutely. I honestly think, that a lot of people wouldn't give Kevin the credit he deserves. I know he has a Darien, it's a very different thing, but I mean, plenty of other people have had Darians, and like, there can't be an easy car to drive. You watch the in car, it's a totally different way of driving, but he seems to have it working very well. To go into Atlantic Drive, for example, a stage full of corners and make it work, he really has the car dialed. But unfortunately, he didn't make it to the end. But sure, he has had two wins, so he's had a lot of luck in the past. So we'll no harm let somebody else have a chance.
And like Martin, I'm sure you've watched the NCAR that they put up, through Garton. Like, himself and Ryan, they're it's almost telepathic the way that they just work together. It's such it's so smooth.
Yeah, they're a good team. I was impressed with the Garton one now, just stuff that he was taking flat at. Even in my own head, I wouldn't have thought that a Darian could do that. But I suppose, alluding to David's point, he has the car well dialed in. He's a talented guy. When he does that car, it's not easy for a Darian. On some of those stages at Atlantic Drive and the times that he done, and especially in Garton that morning, I couldn't believe the time he took out of Declan, because I would have said, oh, you know what, Declan had the nearly upper hand here. Is that characteristic of a stage? I would have said the start would have been better suited to it, but when he got the hammer down on Saturday morning, it was impressive what he done.
Yeah, because Declan, I suppose with that whole time being amended and him not knowing that until Saturday evening, you didn't know either. Like, his goat was up a wee bit going out there on Sunday morning, and by God, he showed what he can do. Like, and as you say, ifs and buts. Like, it doesn't matter. He didn't make the end, but if he had, like, Sunday morning was definitely going to be a big talking point for him.
Definitely so. Like, we went through Garton, like, and I could safely say, it might have been a wee bit cautious on the new bit in the middle, the tight bit, but the rest of the stage there was definitely nothing left. Like, and we came to the stop car, and I was there. He's here already. Do you know what I mean? He started to stay behind us, and I was like, I knew he had time. Like, I knew he had at least 10 seconds. Like, he just appeared, and I was there. Oh no! But like, when you go into the likes of Atlantic Drive, as the boys were saying, like, you'd nearly think it would suit the starlet a wee bit better. And I went through Atlantic Drive, and I says, he's after taking another seven. Like, and it was serious. Like, he definitely is. What he can do in that car is something else when the blood gets up. Like he's some operator now.
Yeah, but like take nothing away from yourself. Like you were taking chunks of time out of everybody else as well too. Like that was the thing. You just two guys were just pushing on so much, like to a different level. And like is that as probably? Do you feel that's as well as you've ever driven?
I would say it is. Like take them stages. Like a lot of the rally this year was different to other years. Like Glen being run backwards. Even Garton with a different bit in the middle, and well, Atlantic Drive was supposed to be the same, but the likes of Knockalla, like I'd say that's the first and even the second time over Knockalla is probably uh, the quickest that I've ever drove Knockalla, and it's great feeling when you come off a stage like that and you can say just there's nothing left like.
And like we've talked, and I've said this to you before. Like there is no feeling like a 2.5 in a condition like that. Dry roads, really good tar below you, coming off a classic stage like that, and just knowing that from the two sides of the car, everything has just worked so well.
It's some feeling right now when Knockall is that type of stage. It kind of has a bit of everything, like the main road at the start of it, and there's a bit in the middle, fast, narrow, tight bit in the middle, and no, there's when the car is working well and driver and navigator is working well together. It's there's no better feeling now.
Hmm. And David, the wee twists and the stages, the likes of Gary Gordon, Glen run that direction. It's been a few years since that's been done, and then Lochhill and new stage. Do you feel that give it just the rally a bit of a freshen up?
Yeah, in fairness, I haven't done the full rally that many times. I'd need to count like maybe 5 or 6 at this stage, but the changes definitely add a new challenge. We could see some of the black lines Declan was leaving on the medium speed corners, and he was using every inch of the road in most places. But no, I mean we were never in that race in fairness, but we were kind of in our own race. We were in the hunt, kind of in the top 5 or 6 all weekend, and then a few issues on Sunday managed to get up into third, which was great. But it wasn't ever simple, and I mean we felt like we were going hard, even though there was seemed to be more in every stage.
But like Martin, Donegal time and time again, like that always throws out a curveball come Sunday morning. That there's always a sting to the tail, and the fact that you just finished third proved that to finish third you have to finish. If that makes sense. You can lose the rally Friday, you can lose the rally Saturday, but it's where you finish Sunday evening. It's what counts really.
It is such a marathon, like Saturday's such a big day in that event as well, and then you're starting off Sunday morning with the likes of Garton, which is a high speed stage. Like it usually some of them stages do fire up surprises, and we seen it last year ourselves. Like we had a bad day in the Friday in stage two. We had a good time in the first one last year. I think we were like 60th or 70th overall, and we got the head down last year, kept going, and we got the third overall result that time too. So like it is true. Like you just have to keep the head in it. Keep yourself fully focused. Such a long event. Like you have a lot of mileage there. And Saturday, as I say, is such a big day. And Sunday, if you're in the race, it's a tough day. And yeah, it's always throws up a surprise. But you just need to keep with it and keep the concentration and try and think that it's not over. Like there's so much left. Like so that's 2 years in a row for us to get there. So obviously delighted. But to your point, like it's such a marathon. Like.
Yeah, and like David, did you feel this year, like the two stages done in the morning, repeat it, and then two in the afternoon, it got it a wee bit of a different dimension. Like, to me, it nearly broke it into two separate days. Like, you're so used to national rallies, you go and you do 3 loops, 3 passes, and that's your day over. The two doubled, and then two again. It's like, to me, it felt like not a long day is probably an unfair description, just it just made it a bit weird to try and figure out where you're at in the day.
Yeah, we were heading back out to stage 7 it was after the last service on Saturday, and like I think it was 5:30 or something, and we couldn't believe we were still going to the stage. It was a long day, definitely was a long day. And then the new stage that they used in the evening, was a different type of stage again, and obviously completely new to pretty much everybody. I think it was used maybe in the mini stages, but with the changeable weather that was thrown in, and it really became an interesting evening. We actually changed the gearbox in the middle of Saturday. So we had no battles or anything for the two of them, and it was struggled a wee bit on those, and then got it all fixed for the last gate. So luckily we went into Saturday night in a happy enough place, but knowing we'd work through on Sunday, and we got up on Sunday and got at it and managed to move up a few places fairly quickly.
Mm-hmm. And Declan, from your point of view, Saturday, like Gary got that was the direction, Lochkeel, Glen, that was the direction, no, like, it's nice to go and do something different that, it doesn't become repetitive then almost.
Oh no, it was definitely it was definitely a good shake up in the whole rally this year. Like to get away to Malin on the Friday and Glen backways. Like I can't remember when Glen had been run that way before. Like, but it, to me, it's a better stage that way. It's more flowing or something. It just feels like it's a better stage, But and the Lochkeel one as well. It's added like to me, it was a brilliant rally this year. It was a work, like a big work in the recce, like to from previous years you would have more stages that you would have done or recce the year before, whereas this year you were going to a lot more stages that were kind of new to you and stuff. But it was definitely a really good mix of stages, like and really enjoyable.
Yeah, and then drama unfolded on Sunday, and you had your own dramas coming off the second last stage, coming off Garton. You started, reports were coming through to Kelly and Andy. Oh, they started smoky and one thing and another. There was a panic on at the end of the last stage, or the second last stage. Sorry.
I there was a big panic on it, right? I could smell smoke coming halfway through Garton. I didn't know what was wrong, but I was looking away in the mirror and I could see smoke. I didn't know it was the car on fire or what was wrong, but we got it to the end anyway and jumped out and discovered it wasn't on fire. But there was no smoke at all when it jumped out, and I gave it a couple of revs and it just filled the exhaust or the filled just a blue smoke coming out of the car, and so we stopped it and checked it for oil, and it was well low in oil now. Uh, Be good luck. There's a man there at the end of Garden. He gave me he lived at the end of Garden where the stop car was. He gave me a gallon of oil, and we filled it up with oil and went on, and by good luck, Atlantic Drive was cancelled then, and went through Fanny. I would say, didn't rev her past halfway up the revs. I was afraid she was going to let go before the end of it, but be good luck now. In fairness, we made it to the end of it.
Yeah, because
It
we often
was
hear of drivers going into the last stage and they start to hear every bang and every rattle. You must have been just like almost saying the rosary on the way through. Just you're probably on edge going through that last stage.
it was the longest stage ever. Kevin we told like Gary was happy enough to stay where he was behind us, and we told him to see if he could get a minute with the timekeepers or more, like and I was waiting for him to come on, mate. I was looking in the mirror, keeping an eye for him, and I was watching the oil pressure, waiting for it to drop off, and it was the longest stage I ever had to do now, in fairness, but just be good luck. We made it to the end, anyway.
Yeah, and then I was to come to the end of Fanad and that holding area that was introduced by the club and the team this year. That was such a lovely thing. It got you all out and got you all chatting, rather than having to be rushing away into Letterkenny just to get that 10 or 15 minutes. Kelly and Andy had the bottles of champagne. There's a lovely vibe about that there. And I suppose maybe the good weather helped things as well.
Oh, definitely. So, like, it was great to be able to just stop there and chill out for a while, and even the boys were saying like some of them got ice creams and stuff there. Like it's you could chat and have a bit of crack. Like it definitely was a good job now, in fairness, like rather than having to rush on the road again to Letterkenny before that.
Yeah, and before we go any further, there's something we have to mention is the team around you, like Neil and the boys, like, you know, you got the two-wheel drive, David Kelly was third overall, Gary Jennings seventh, and then your cousin, then Ryan, got the RC4. Like, what a performance by the team there. Like, just a small team, you know, no big, massive numbers, but like, brilliant weekend for them.
It was class weekend. Like, fair play to David Kelly. He put on some show there. Like, he set a couple of quickest stage times. Like, that was massive for him. Like, when you have people, Pedigree and Matt Edwards, and I know Keith Cronin was probably gone that stage, and very experienced drivers, and he was able to set quicker times than them, and Gary Jennings as well, and for Ryan. But like, Neil's Neil's a great operator. Like, he hasn't got a wild big setup there, but everything that Neil does is done right, and he has a great couple of lads there along with him as well. And there's so many people that's behind the whole thing. Even, like, boys that'll be helping me there all the time, and that, and it takes all these people to make the whole thing happen. Like.
Yeah, because you know, what we don't see out in the stages, the spectators don't see. There's a massive team effort goes on behind all this. You know, it's not just the two guys in the car. It's not even the, you know, the three or four guys and, you know, in service. It's a massive team effort. Like, right from families, everybody gets on board with this thing as well.
Oh, I definitely, like, it's, you know, li- my own wife Siobhan and two boys, Donnock and Ireland, my own mother and father, and Siobhan's mother and father. Like, it's they all play a part. On the run up to things. When you're late nights in the shed or away all week wrecking, and away then late. You're away from home a lot. Like, they do put up with a lot, a couple of weeks in the run up to the rally, even for like Limerick and Bolton Glass. I wouldn't have been at home too much for for them lot of weeks, I suppose. So you have to. They put up with a lot on the couple of weeks in the run up to the rally as well. Like.
Yeah, I'm sure, David, you're in the same position too. Like, this is like, it becomes all consuming. You know, for that 2 weeks, say, like coming up with Donegal. You know, getting bits sorted for the car, getting bits fixed for the car, getting, you know, scheduling recce's. You know, there's always something going on, and maybe sometimes home life gets neglected a wee bit.
Yeah, well, I've three wee boys as well, and my wife has to take on a lot now when you're away for whatever it is, 6 out of 8 days or something in the run around the rally. And she always says it's worse nearly after, when she has to listen to rally cars all week and in. But part of it, and like, I suppose it's something that we love and sort of has to be done. They're all well used to it, but we're all at it long enough.
And like, Martin, I know, talking to you in previous times as well too, like the effort that a co-driver goes in, you know, ever before you even see a stage, you know, you're plotting maps, you're looking, if you haven't heard from the previous years, or is there any particular section we need to be looking at. You know, there's an awful lot of work goes on before the rally.
There is, yeah, yeah, especially on my side, I suppose. Like, you're going through, like, I've done Donegal now 9 times. You're getting all them boxes out. You're looking at the map. You're seeing what notes you can join and that you don't have to write. Or we use Killian's notes, but I rewrite them and we make a few changes before we get to the event. That's sort of our system. I do all that before we arrive. Just makes the recce a lot easier. But yeah, I think I spent nearly a full day going through all my stuff and getting the notes ready, and just, seeing what we could take with us from its previous years, and then maybe looking at in cars and stuff as well, because it does make it handy, and the stages don't, move around that much, and you have a lot of footage there that you can use and a lot of notes that you can reuse. So it does take time, but yeah, we enjoy it, as David says, and that's why we do it.
Yeah, because, like, if you weren't doing it, you'd find something else to do with your time. But it's something that just drives you to want to do it. Like, there's no pay for this. This is just pure enjoyment.
Yeah, and you want to be competitive too. Like, you want to put your best foot forward too. Like, so that's why we do all the preparation, especially on my side of it, and the likes of the mechanics and the guys that run the car for Declan and ourselves. Like, you put the best foot forward. You went up there for 3 hard days. You need to leave everything right and best you can within your control anyway. Obviously, when you're on the stages, it's hard, but you need to try and do as much as you can before you get there. And that's, from a navigator's point of view, that's why I put the effort in. It leaves you a lot more relaxed, to be fair. Like, and leaves Alexa David a lot more relaxed, and the thing flows a bit better. And even during recce, it's such a long recce that you don't want to be, making mistakes. You don't want to be reversing back up the road. You want everything to flow, and that wee bit of effort goes the extra mile and makes the thing that bit easier. So it does be worth it. It is hard leading up to it. You wonder where you get the time to squeeze these things in and get looking at them, but you always try and do it, and it works. But yeah, it takes time.
Yeah. I think, David, like having that prep done beforehand does make things easier for you. You can jump into the recce car in the morning and go, this man has this under control. I'll just basically do as I'm told from here on.
So I'm doing what I'm told anyway. But yeah, look at it. It is part of it, and it definitely helps with it around the event. And now Donegal is probably a bit different in that you sort of have an idea where the stages start. And I would know the roads up around there reasonably well, and you sort of know where you're heading for. But looking at the old stages and what's usable and what's the same, and we'd have pulled out some old in cars and watched a bit of stuff in the run up to it, and it's all time, but it's worth doing because it definitely makes the whole thing a bit more streamlined when you're in the event then.
And like Declan, you like John sitting in with you, like coming from Kerry, like it's not that you can just nip down and like a Monday night and go through the notes. No, like, that brings another challenge. But like if he has his homework done before he gets your land, that makes your job easier. Then you step into the car as well.
Oh, I definitely like it. John's very well organised, not line two, no different to Martin there. Like, they like to be organised and try and make recce as less painless as possible. It's a long couple of days to, like, even for me to leave home and drive to Malin it's about 2 hours. Like, but John had everything in place, and he had a kind of a routine marked out for what we were going to do every day and everything. And I can't thank him enough because he was up, and he was up most of the week, like, and he's a dairy farmer and trying to organise boys to look after milking cows and one thing and another to look after things on the farm when he was away, and that's not easy either for the likes of him. So you have to. He's That's kind of the commitments that he used to put up with as well. Like,
Yeah, because as you say, like the farmer's life, it's constant. There's no off switch. That's going on 24/7, and to have people to step in and help him out whenever he's not there, that's vital.
oh, it's like you say, you can't switch them off. So he has to have his men in place to do his milking or whatever is to be done every morning and evening, and other things have to be done as well other than that on the farm, and I have to thank him for his commitment and dedication to coming up and getting all that organised. Like,
And then I suppose just to start wrapping things up, maybe David, we'll start with yourself. Like the marshals, we've seen record number of people out spectating in the stages at the weekend. Like the marshals made things very easy. Like we never lost a stage or nothing last weekend. People were very well behaved, but that's because marshals were approached it the right way, done. They were the vital cog in the big wheel.
Yeah, well, obviously none of it happens without the marshals. Like we saw really no incidents or issues over the weekend. The one thing you might see with people just have moved to somewhere maybe not that sensible, but you're always going to have a wee bit of that, and you can't have a marshal in every gap. In fact, from rally car point of view, completely flowed seamlessly. We never were held in traffic once all weekend, so no, it was great from that point of view. Brilliant weekend.
Yeah, I think Martin, that just as well too. Like the marshals and the Garda, the way that whole team all worked together, it did seem to be a lot smoother, a lot simpler.
Yeah, it worked very well. Like, I was telling someone the other day, and I think Knockalla has 80 something marshals on it, which is a massive number. Some commitment to get those volunteers down, like in our own Motor Club, Modern Motor Club, that they're all there as well. So it does take a full effort. It's such a big spectacle. You wanted to go off safely too, and there's some organising, same as any event really. And they're unsung heroes really, and we rely on them. Without them, we wouldn't be able to do it, and we enjoy it. And we have to thank them and look after them, make sure they get the respect, and it is a good effort there by Donegal Motor Club to round all them people up and get every stage running. Like, you know what I mean? That's important. It's good for us from a mileage point of view, but also keep everyone safe. It seemed to click well, and the guards were fantastic. Like, they did good initiatives there this year with the wider rally community. With the likes of the guys that were in Letterkenny and stuff, they did good initiatives and good impact there by the Garda team up there. And as David said, it's flowed so well for us, and the road section was great. Like.
Yeah, like it's Declan, the way the Garda handled the rally traffic this year, like talking to other competitors, it was very smooth. Coming into Letterkenny on Friday evening, you just more or less drove straight in. Even coming in on Sunday evening, you just bypassed all, and everything just seemed to flow really well. And again, what the other guys were saying there, the Marshals, the way they handled the crowds this year, just exceptional.
I definitely like. I know what I didn't get too far last year, only got 3 or 4 stages or something like. But I noticed a massive difference this year and the rally, and you have to, you know, you have to take your hats off to Eamon McGee and his team. Like they definitely did. They had all avenues covered this year. Like the coming in on the Friday evening, like, and diverting the traffic, getting diverted away from the heavy traffic, and even things like coming down through the regional and into Park Fermi. It, it means a lot when you can, especially when you're coming in maybe late on Saturday evening and stuff like that. And it definitely was a very well run event. Like, very little or known. We got all stages, like, and to the marshals and timekeepers, they're all volunteers, and we have to be very grateful for them. Like, there's people, you'd see people from all over every county, as far as Cork and Kerry, and we can't be thankful enough for them. Like, they help to make the thing run smoothly, and as Martin said, like, the thing wouldn't run without them.
That's for sure. And Declan, I suppose, very last word to you. You get up onto that ramp, and Ocean declares you the winner. The two-wheel drive winner of 2024. Going to be a memory that's going to live long for you.
Oh, definitely. That's what we live for, is a sport. And as far as as far as like the two-wheel drive thing's concerned, that's probably our all Ireland as such. And it's a memory that that'll be with me for a long time now. In fairness, it was just class.
Yeah, because I heard you saying, was it Dougie Hughes often said to you, you've won all round the country, but you've never won yet in Donegal. Like, it was nice just to give that nod back to Dougie, because he was such a big role in Irish rallying. Like, he was everywhere. He was in Donegal, he was in Cork, he was in Limerick, or he was in Monaghan. He was Mr. Rallying.
I suppose, what did they call Dougie? There's the voice of Irish rallying, and no, that was one of his. That was one of his. He used to always say, he says, you won everywhere and around the country. He says, but you can't get your home one. So we have to remember Dougie now for that one, and it's good to get it now.
So thanks very much to those guys there, and no doubt Declan will savour that one for a long, long time to come. That has to be a very special one in your home rally. And then Conor, you get a chance to catch up with Hollie McRae as well.
I did. Every few years at Donegal, we got a McCrae drop in. It just seems to be tradition. And the newest member of the McCrae clan to do so was Hollie McRae. So, last year, or no, 2 years ago, was it? We had Max, and we've had Alistair, and we had Hollie's father, Colin. And then, the person who got the ball rolling there was Jimmy. But Hollie was a last minute visitor to Donegal. She hadn't originally planned to do so, but she's been doing PR for Matt Edwards, and it was a last minute call up, and Hollie got an opportunity to sample Donegal. And I got the opportunity to catch up with Hollie to see what she thought of it. Hollie, the McCrae name, it's synonymous with Irish rallying. With Jimmy was 7-time Circuit of Ireland winner, regularly competed here through the BRC. A winner of Donegal back in 1980, competed on Donegal, I think, about 5 times. We've had your father, Colin, compete here. Alistair's competed here. Most recently, we had Max competing here last year on the Donegal Rally. you know, you're especially Jimmy considered Ireland a very good place to get to hone the tarmac skills, and we saw that when he brought Alistair and we brought Colin over to compete here. So, is Donegal somewhere you were familiar with? You know, from within the family.
Yeah, absolutely. I feel as though Donegal Rally is a bit of a rallying legend, and I definitely heard about it spoken round the dinner table. I've seen pictures and little clips of videos online here and there. And it was definitely a rally that was high up my list of ones to tick off. I just didn't quite imagine that it would happen so soon. When I was sat for dinner the Monday before the event to celebrate Max's birthday, it was himself, Uncle Alistair, Gramps all sat around the table, and I was talking about my upcoming trip to Donegal, and they were all a little bit green with envy, I think. They were like, how come of all of us, you're the one that's going to Donegal this year? So no, it's definitely been on my radar for a while, and I'm glad that I've finally been able to tick it off.
And you know, when you got here, and obviously we're here for a few days, and you got to meet lots of people. Like, were you getting to hear stories from you know your dad competing here, from Alistair, Jimmy, Max, etc.?
Oh yeah, there's plenty stories to go around, and I feel as though that's something that the Scottish and the Irish have in common. We love just to have a chat with someone, and the amount of times I got roped into conversations with spectators just on a hillside, it was great. And that's one of the main reasons I love getting back into the rallying world right now. It's being able to speak to people and hear their stories. And a lot of people have stories about my dad that I've never heard before. And every event that I go to, it's almost like piecing together this big jigsaw of his life and his career. And whether it's something significant in terms of his career or a rally win or something that I wasn't too sure about, or just little anecdotes. I got told an anecdote about my dad sat in the hotel breakfast a couple of years ago when he was there, and there was a fan that came over with his son, and just little interactions that people saw, which was really, really lovely to hear.
And you know, there's obviously, as I say, you know, it's rallying royalty as far as we're concerned, the McCrae name, and there's a very strong fondness. And the organ, you know, it was a last minute decision you coming over. The organizers weren't aware you were coming, and yet when you arrived for the ceremonial start, there was your dad's Metro 6R4 sitting there on display.
Yeah, no, that was one that took me by surprise as well. I was totally unaware that it was going to be there. Came to do some filming and taking pictures of Matt Edwards, who I was there working with, and was made aware that the Metro was parked just the other side of the ceremonial start ramp. So it was lovely to see it. I've not seen that for years. And obviously it's got all of our family signature at the bottom there. So no, it was very special.
And what do you call it? First time in Ireland, I believe, to come to a rally. And you suppose you've recently been traveling the last year and a half with your new role within rallying, which we'll get to in a minute. But were you surprised by the reception, the ceremonial start, the amount of spectators, fans, curious people that came out to see the start?
I don't think I'd say I was surprised, because I've heard so many good things about the Irish fans and their love and dedication to rallying. But it was certainly special to see it with my own eyes for the first time. It was a brilliant atmosphere, and just people of all ages, of all walks of life, coming to see the cars over the start ramp. And then for the fact that that continued to almost every single stage I went to, the numbers of people didn't really diminish where I was spectating, which is incredible. It's one thing to have those amount of people out onto the high street, but the fact that they then went and got in their cars over the weekend out to the depths of the countryside to watch the rally cars in action, that was really special.
And as you probably saw, you know, Letterkenny embraces the rally, and in fact, the whole county embraces the rally. It is fantastic to
Yeah.
see, and there is incredible atmosphere, and it attracts, you know, over 100,000 people into the county for the weekend, and can be hard to get a bit of sleep in Letterkenny at night.
Yeah, no, it was absolutely crazy. Luckily, we weren't staying in Letterkenny, so I did manage to get a good night's sleep. But no, I did hop in and out for different rally events or just to pick myself up some dinner some nights. And yeah, the amounts of people are crazy. I was warned about the traffic. I didn't think it would be as bad as what it was.
Yeah, that is it. That is the downside. Yes, the sitting in the traffic for an hour or two can be a bit of a nightmare. Okay, and look, as you mentioned, you were doing a bit of work here, and I suppose getting on to, I suppose, what is your, are you doing now in the world of rallying, and I suppose how did it bring you to Donegal?
So I've started my own business within sort of motorsport media. It's called McCrae Media _McCrae Media on socials. And basically, I've been involved in sort of social media marketing for a couple of years, whether it was as a full-time role or part-time to what I was doing at the side. And over, I'd say maybe 5 years ago now, I started working within motorsport a little in terms of the media side. And I never assumed that it would be something that I would go into full time. It was more just an opportunity that came my way and I wanted to help out. And I think the more that I did that and the more I was able to see the opportunities that I could engage with through that, I was like, do you know what? This is actually quite exciting. And I just started taking on little jobs here and there as they came to me. Last year, I took a career break from teaching, which was my big girl job prior to this. And it was meant to just be a year out to go and do some traveling post COVID and then come back to it. And on that year out, I decided to put a lot more of my time, effort, money towards doing media more full time. And it's just sort of snowballed from there. So now McCrae Media is a mixture of content creation, social media management, presenting and reporting on behalf of either individual drivers or bigger organizations. I've done my first live end of stage interviews with the ERC just a couple of weekends ago, which was incredible. And the reason that I ended up in Donegal was through the work that I do with Matt Edwards. He approached me, it was just towards the end of last year, and spoke about wanting to return into rallying and to get more actively involved again from the driver's seat. And would I be able to help him and sort of coach him through his social media journey, because he was realizing how important a side of rallying that was nowadays, which maybe wasn't so much the case when he rallied before. And I took the opportunity on. It was great to sort of speak to him and learn his experiences. And until Donegal, I'd done all of my work for him remotely, whether it was through Zoom call coaching or creation of content just from my side for him to then use on event. But he had said from the start, I want to get you out to a rally, to get you there, to capture the event, to do what you do. And luckily for me, Donegal was the one that worked. So I managed to get myself over to an event that was very high up any rally fans' to-do list, and it was absolutely brilliant.
And that opportunity now you have to be involved in motorsport, from the background, from your family's background, obviously in sport, is it nice to be involved? Like, obviously, if you look to your grandfather or your dad or your uncle and your cousin, they're competing, but for you now have a role within the sport as well. Is there a sense of satisfaction to that?
Oh, absolutely. Yeah. I feel as though until about 2 years ago, I didn't really think that I had a place within motorsport. I knew that I was never going to be the next world champion. I've driven a rally car once in my life. And although I did love it, I feel like I left it a bit too late to be competitive or to make it anything that might be more than just a bit of fun. And because of that, I didn't really think that I fit into the typical sort of McCrae motorsport mold that we have going on. But yeah, getting involved in the media side, it's really allowed me to find my own space within it. And coming in with the surname McCrae is obviously a bit of a talking point. And I do not shy away from the fact that my surname has got me a lot of good opportunities. It's maybe made a lot of people stand up and notice what I'm doing a little bit sooner than anyone else might have been able to. But I don't want it to be the reason that I am in the places that I am in. I want to be able to sort of demonstrate what I can do and that I am worthy of taking up the space in the motorsport industry where I am. And it's just so great to have sort of found my way of getting involved, because I do love rallying, and I love the community that's built around it. I love the areas of the world that you're able to see through rallying, and being able to do that in the capacity in which I'm doing it right now is brilliant.
And I suppose the big question, are you coming back?
I think I'll need to. Do you know, it's funny, I've been like having lots of these amazing rally firsts this year, and I'm like, well, my calendar for next year is filling up already.
Yeah, no, listen, it'd be fantastic to have you back. I'm glad you enjoyed your first time dipping your toe into the water in Donegal. And as we've seen, it's a place that does seem to resonate within the family. And we had Colin and Alistair and Jimmy, and hopefully Max will all come back again. And what do you call it? It's great that the family is involved and so keen and so interested in what's going on in Irish rallying.
Yeah, absolutely. Max's first experience of Donegal was 2 years ago. He actually celebrated his 18th birthday over the rally weekend as well. And I feel as though that was his sort of induction into Irish rallying, and he's definitely not finished with it yet. I'm sure next year, if I'm back, he'll be in tow, and then Gramps needs to come as well. So there'll be plenty more to come.
So huge thanks to Hollie. It was a very last minute visit to Donegal. It was a very last minute coming and chatting to me for the podcast.
It really was, but like by the sound of that, she really, really enjoyed it, and I don't think it's going to be her last visit to Donegal either, going by that as well too. So the McCrae name lives long in Donegal. Conor, we also got a chance to catch up with some of the other two-wheel drive guys, and like what fun we had with them. Without a doubt, I think one of the stars of the rally was Conor Harvey. Hasn't been out now in a couple of years. Come back into a Class 13 escort. Set a blistering pace right from Friday. So we caught up with Conor, and then as well as with Chris O'Callaghan, Conor Curley, Colin O'Donoghue, Frank Kelly, and Oli Benton, and it's well worth a listen. This is good fun. Star of the show for a lot of people, Conor Harvey. You took the Class 13 award, but you were right up there in the middle of the Class 14. Phenomenal rally, phenomenal result. You'd be really good at this if you're out a bit more often.
No, I used to be out a bit more often. It wasn't much good then. So no, I would have a weekend. It was a long weekend. We had a very good Friday, a fairly good Saturday. Sunday we probably concentration went a wee bit in that, so we weren't probably as competitive on the Sunday, and we slipped back a wee bit. But it was probably just a thing of trying to get to the finish ramp when you've gone that far and you don't really get out as much. It's brilliant to get to the finish then, So not great weekends. Really enjoyed it, and as Frank says there earlier, when you're enjoying what you're driving, you can probably drive that wee bit better. It just seems to come that bit easier to you, than when you're sometimes if you're not really enjoying it, you start to overdrive and overthink things, and the concentration starts to waver a bit. So no, it was I really enjoyed it. In fairness,
and right from the get go, you just were on it. Like Malin Head, first stage Friday morning. Did it just feel like natural? Did it feel enjoyable? And that's just how you kind of went from the weekend, went from there?
Yeah, basically, I don't know. I suppose Malin was Malin's a very good stage, and it probably wasn't the worst to start with because it's a start stage. You can get a good flow going, and it kind of gives you confidence as you go on, and. With it being dry too for the first run, it kind of took the pressure off trying to learn things, So it got off to a really good start in the dry in Malin, and then I suppose it got wet then in the second and third stage a bit. But it just I would say the confidence just stayed for Malin with me then, and the car with them escorts too. They're all that well developed now, and the suspensions, everything's set up so well and so precisely that it leaves them, not that they're easier to drive, but they're easier to set into if you haven't driven one, because they're all so similar, and they're also well developed. There's nothing really that's going to catch you by massive surprise. Whereas if you go in a different car, sometimes they're totally different and you're trying to learn everything and they're not as well developed, So no, it left things a wee bit easier for me now,
Yeah, and Frank, from your own point of view, we spoke last week and we said, about the ceremonial start and, how important it was to bring rally into the people. The people of Donegal and beyond really got behind this rally. The ceremonial start, the crowd was unbelievable. The atmosphere was just electric.
It was fantastic. It was good to see it being supported so well. The weather helped, obviously. It threatened to rain, but it didn't get to rain. But I was blown away with the amount of people who was there. It was like something you see abroad more than in Letterkenny. But Killamon, there was, and the competitors supported it. Plenty of lads took their cars up the town, and
queued up and went through the process and meet it and greet it and did all the things, and you guys were there and everything. It was fantastic. It was really fantastic. I was really happy to see the whole thing happening and see so many about and see youngsters about and everything.
Yeah, because this is like we need the next generation. We know we spoke about that before as well. But even to to give them a poster to go and get signed, to have a wee flag to fly, like we might think it's a wee bit silly and a wee bit chuffy, but in 10, 15 years time, that child's going to look back and go, Frank Kelly signed this or Conor Curley signed this for me or whatever, and that's going to be the things they'll remember.
Plus, he could be a sponsor in the future.
Yeah, this is it.
It could be in the market to sponsor a 75-year-old driver, and he'll remember my poster. No, you're right. That's the future of the sport. Whereas competitor, marshalling, organisers, or sponsors, or whatever, someone goes into business and wants to get known and comes into rallying. That's what it's all about. A lot of our sport and the organising side of it are the older generation. And we need to see, younger blood coming in. And every part of the sport, every sport needs new blood, and the likes of that ceremony to start as the way to do it.
Mm-hmm. And like you're talking about new blood coming in, like these two, Chris O'Callaghan and Oli Benton, these are the next generation. Chris, like that's only your second Donegal, but you put in the hard yards again. You were determined to get round, trying to get every stage in. Mission accomplished, really, from that point of view.
Yeah, delighted. I like the way he didn't mention Colin, and just like the way he's getting the views on up.
You're older than him, Jesus.
No, pleasure to get through 3 days of rallying. It's like to get to the finish ramp in itself is like winning the rally, because it's 3 tough days, and to get through every stage is a plus, and to get mileage for every other year. Like as I was talking to Kevin Gallagher and Sunday night in the pub, all the pub was talk. He says it's a 5-year plan. And he's 100% right. It takes 5 years to get to somewhere near the top of the level of the game. Even though, look, I was happy enough with my Friday, a small error on the start line of stage 6, just flat out, and a flat to your right, and the shock burst, and it broke the anti-roll bar and took the brake lines off the back of her. We're having a great battle there with Colin all day. Just one of them things. I went for about 6 more kilometres and I slipped off the road and I lost the time. But Saturday then we didn't really have the urge to, I don't know, I was kind of in bad form and stuff, and I kind of got over myself Saturday evening, and then Sunday we had a couple of good stage times, and you were into the characteristics of say Fanad and all them stage. Like Fanad is one of the best stages in the country. There's so much in it and it's so enjoyable, and it's just look, we're surrounded by some great people and with some great laughs through the weekends, and it's one of them weekends for me. It's worth the build up and the hype for even just to get away from work and to get up there for the weekend, and it's amazing from start to finish.
And Colin, you've been a regular visitor to Donegal, but you finally popped your cherry in competing in Donegal the weekend, and was it all you hoped it to be?
Oh yeah, definitely, Kevin. It was, the build-up alone was mad. It was 1 full week long. Never did anything like it, bar I suppose when we went to Belgium that time in a couple of years ago. The effort of trying to be put into the car, put into a recce, was unreal. The stages are class up there, and it's just a build up, and just having the crack with all the lads is just a serious experience. That's the one thing we took away from it,
Mm-hmm. And can you see now what the attraction is to the event? As I say, you've been up with your father and you've been up, watching and spectating and one thing and another. Can you now see what's so special about the stages now that you've competed on them?
Oh, definitely. The stages are definitely the best in the country. It's just that's tough for me coming from Clarny, but they're very similar characteristics compared to down in Castleonbear, let's say. To be a lot tighter down there, but this is fast flowing. There was no real dirty stage. Only Lockheed was the only stage I was like, oh, that's so dirty, he catch you out and everything like that. But we did another 2 runs of recce over it, and I was like, you know what, that's actually not bad once you get into the rhythm of it. So you just couldn't take anything bad away from the stages,
And Ollie, like you've been over now a couple of times, and you've sampled the whole Donegal atmosphere. You had Johnny Baird on with you, a local man this time. Like, does it keep getting was this an improvement this year than other years?
I think it's just one of those things. I think with it being like one of the only 3-day rallies, it's the whole challenge. Don't get me wrong, going and doing the 1-2 days, they're great fun, but like the boys mentioned, it's a whole week more or less, and people think you're away for a week off work, and it's just but like you're still doing the work with the recce and stuff. It's pretty non-stop. Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, and then starting the rally Friday. It's all go. So
yeah, and Conor, like you're a veteran now. Would be the way of putting it. You've a few Donegals under your belt, but the mix of stages, the new and the shown, and then the wee twists and turns on the regular stages, plus Lochkiel, a different stage that hasn't been used in international for years and years. Like, welcome changes.
I think it's great that if you just go with the same stuff all the time, you're just going to bore people. And the fact this year, I wasn't sure about Malahide. I certainly wasn't sure about Mamore. I wasn't sure about Kilcross, a good stage, but do you see when you done them and you done the rally, Lochkiel, as Colin said, it was a brilliant stage in the rally. It surprised me. I really enjoyed it. So I think the rally just needs to keep bouncing off different places, trying different things. Why not? We don't want it to be stagnant. We don't want to be doing. You're going to have the classics, the Knockallahs, the Fanids, the Atlantic Drive, surely. But I was disappointed Karen Hill was none this year. But when I done the rally, I never even thought about it. The stages were that good. So the rally just keeps delivering. And I suppose when you have 35 or 40 crews of madmen sitting on a start line having a bit of fun, it's not just great for the spectators and the people out watching. The fun that we have in between stages, the crack, the stories, the slagging, it's not just about the stages. It's the whole meeting your friends, looking out for each other, making sure everybody's okay, having a bit of fun, and it just delivers, Kevin.
And Conor, Conor Harvey, you haven't competed regularly. Whenever you get back and suddenly you're getting dragged in, and Frank Kelly's slagging you off, or do you miss that side of things? Whenever you finally go, Jesus, this is what it's all about. Yes, fantastic driving the escort over, and those classic stages and all that. But that downtime between stages.
Yeah, we definitely do. Like the crack you have with everybody. You don't see them boys. Like I haven't seen them in a couple of years, and you get back in and it's just the same thing, and they're just slagging the same as they were before. Like, and Frank's spending more time working on Conor's car than he was on his own the whole weekend.
What's that with you, Frank?
75 euro an hour.
He remembers. Good man, Colin. I think the invoice should be with you by now.
It's minimum 2 hour call out for you.
You see, he has that all logged just in case it's needed. And by the way, Conor Harvey, you have my number now, so anytime you want me to slag you, just ring me. Just ring me. Don't be a stranger.
For a week or two yet.
To get over
it. But
I'm a charge for Tony all around the roads as well.
That's right. He was a recovery service for the week. All you need is a rope now. I had to give you the bucket rope every time, but you did the towing. But what kind of a recovery man arrives from a Limerick with no tow rope?
A good one.
That'll be the last boy I would let tow me anywhere. Is Chris Hotel.
It's amazing what you do when you're desperate.
Daisy Keenan couldn't get over the way that we could overtake cars and tow.
He's probably still traumatized.
He didn't take the quarter out by in the stage. He took it out by being towed by crew.
Well, he doesn't have a booklet anymore. I nearly ditched the whole thing, missing his booklet. I could see his booklet came off somewhere near that new shitty bit in Garton, and I could see it in the distance, this red thing on the road. And I thought, what the hell? So I wasn't sure, so I ditched her in case I had it because I thought it was metal. But we were going down through the grass in third gear, going, I hope there's nothing in here. maybe the, and then as I passed, just a bloody booklet. I should have took the booklet. But at least I don't own booklet. Seamus Leonard owes him a booklet.
You're not taking responsibility.
No, I did not drive over the booklet.
And Colin, we spoke before too as well. The Volvo engine there, the new engine and all, and you were hoping for the upgrade and all. Did you feel it was a step forward then when you got into the stages?
That's still the same engine as before, Kev, but we were
right.
playing around with gearing this rally, so it definitely improved it big time. So it was class, all right. Or we struggled in the wet a small bit on Friday. Made 2 stupid, brave tire tries on both runs on Friday. So, but other than that, no, everything is perfect and very happy. We're improving the whole time. 2 small, stupid problems happened the weekend, but sure, look, that's rally.
He wasn't carp this weekend at all, throwing banana skins out the window for everyone else behind him.
Yeah. There were 2 things we took away from the weekend. No oil spilled and Frank didn't have to push me. Yeah, well, not physically push me, pushed me at the front of his car. He told me he'd never physically push me.
No, I don't think I could physically push you or the car.
Yeah, you're not the first fella to that, yeah.
I need to get a fair run at it.
Starting Friday, maybe Sunday again.
Just right. Head down, rum.
Just one thing, we must get Frank Kelly for the soccer match next year with Conor Curley.
Yeah. Just in case anything needs fixing, Chris, I will get him there, so we will.
I'll take my snap-on toolbox with me and
avoid what they kick Frank Kelly.
I tell you what, I have a great idea. I'll be the physio.
Right. That's all right. I'll tell you this much. What? You mightn't be the worst footballer on the pitch, let me tell you that, Frank, and I won't name names.
No, I'm just thinking if I was the physio and I had a hacksaw and a bow saw with me, I could leave myself an easy run to the national.
Chisel.
Amputees, a few amputees before the match, before the game.
Frank, if I remember correctly, your plan this time last week was to sit back and see how the others got on. How did the plan? Did you stick to the plan?
Well, I'm still sitting back waiting, and I'm still waiting for everybody still fucking going. The plan sort of went out the window on Friday because it just halfway through the first stage, I think everybody's fed up listening to me about brakes these days, but all new brakes, all new sorted, everything done, and halfway through the stage, paddle halfway to the floor. Boy, bad temper. I was in really bad temper, and that's not the way to go rallying with the whole thing. But we were lucky that it pissed then the rest of the day, because if it hadn't pissed, we wouldn't have made it the other day. I'd have been stuck in a hedge or in a shock somewhere. I would have been off the road. And coming in the road to the last service before we headed back down to Letterkenny for Park Fermi, the alternator had went, and we had no charging for 2 stages, no wipers, no heated screens, so that was interesting. And I thought, right, do I try and fix brakes or do I try and get our charging before we go down the road? Because it's half an hour of a service. What are we going to do? And I thought, I'd rather have brakes, not see where I'm going. So put an hour set of discs on her and put different manufacturer pads in and used the road section in to bed everything in. Took a jump pack with me. Eventually, by the time we got to Park Fermi, we were in 3 cylinders. She was that under voltage. But next morning, so I took an alternator on her, and our weekend really started the Saturday morning. The brakes brought the thing to life. After all this drama, who knew a set of brake pads was going to sort it? Changing different manufacturer. I hadn't realised how bad our brakes was. For 2 years, my brakes have been going downhill. I just didn't realise it. Chris and all that, I was talking about going to the 100 board. I'm still not just trusting her to the 100 board, but I don't have to brake at the 200 board now and put the foot down through the bulkhead and use the gearbox. And, I was...
Brake at the 200 board. You're better off. 100 pencils here from going to the 100 board.
Well, I think he's talking bullshit, so I'm not going to trust him. But it was a revelation on Saturday, and we really started to enjoy ourselves, and we just went with it, and we had great crack. And the crack with them lads there is fierce. You can't get out of the car without getting the shit slagged at you, which is fantastic. It's just fantastic. And Lauren enjoys all the crack too. She's heard me talking over the years about the crack with different lads over the years. And now it's their sons. We're still having the same crack. Still having the same crack. And so that's what it's all about. But no, we're all into the same game. I think everybody enjoyed Saturday and Sunday. Every mile you could get was a bonus. If we could widen a lot of them chicanes, that'd be just making the icing on the top of the cake there, boy.
And Conor Harvey, like Saturday, more familiar terrain and all that, but they weren't the normal procession. Like even though there was a bit of a change to the end. Gary Gort running the opposite direction. Glenn, hasn't run downhill in a long time now as well. For you being out for a couple of years, does that kind of make it a wee bit more level then for you going in there?
Yeah, it probably does. We, as you said, I don't know when the last time we did Gary Gort that direction. I can't remember. It's a long time, but like say Glenn, I would still probably know fairly well that way we were doing it. So it helped me probably a bit too. Though, when I got this a couple of them stages that I did know a bit better, it helped you because you weren't really doubting what the car was going to do as much. And it was definitely a help. It evened things up, especially on Friday too, because they're so new. I suppose they were the same for everybody. Really, nobody kind of had been on them in a long time. So it helped. Definitely helped things. Yeah.
And like. We hear about everybody's putting so much effort in now to the reggae, into the DVD, and it's all the prep before you get there. Did you get caught up in all that as well, or do you see where these guys are doing all this?
Yeah, well, listen, I didn't spend much time on the DVD or anything. I didn't really have that much time, but I wouldn't get into it in that much depth. But we did a good recce, in fairness, but it's hard to recce when you don't know the car, because you're wondering what way it's geared and stuff, and what way you're going to be taking junctions and the slower corners. But I suppose I can aim to just try and figure out what the road is doing, and try and really just focus on the road and then make them as consistent as I could make them, So I think it was a good help. We did put a bit of work into the time on the stages,
Yeah, I like, and Oli, from your point of view too, like you had Johnny on board and all. Like I know you've had Johnny a couple of times in the past and all, but like having a different co-driver, does that does it take a stage or two just to get that sort of into your head that there's a different guy here going through my ears?
Johnny last sat in 2 years ago in the Ulster. But Johnny's obviously very talented, and I think he said to me he'd done Donegal now 22 times. I think he's done it. I think I was 5, if I work it out correctly. So having Johnny sit in definitely was a massive help. And he knows a lot more shortcuts than me, as Frank will tell you. I'm not the best for giving shortcuts around Letterkenny, so no, I mean, just having his knowledge and expertise, and there was so much info that he already had into the notes before we even started, just from previous years, that he'd already done his homework, and that made things a lot easier. But no, it was Johnny did a superb job, really.
Mm-hmm. And like whenever you're going into the even to start the recce and the co-drivers, all that work done, it can probably allows you to relax a wee bit more. Going, this guy's bringing his A game. This is going to be good.
Definitely, yeah. It gives you that bit more confidence. And like I say, from the word go, the first stage it just took a while just to get into things. But more or less from the word go, I felt pretty confident. The only thing I would say I need to work on for definite is my first passes over the stages. These boys are on it from the word go, and it just takes me that first pass to get round it, and then the second pass I'll be there or thereabouts. But these boys are on it from the word go, so.
And then you need another 500 cc's as well too to keep up with these boys as well.
That's it, yeah. But Conor had no harm doing that with 500 less, so.
Yeah, it shows it's there.
I hope Johnny's as good at the navigating because he's bad at the soccer.
He's awful. He's awful, Chris.
He thought it was Gaelic football he was playing.
He's a serial loser at the football. He has not won. I don't know what you've seen in him, Ollie, to bring him into the car, because he assembles the same squad every year, expecting them to produce this magic. We brought Chris O'Callaghan this year, who has made massive strides in the football world, not just the rallying world, but the football world. And it was a wee dark horse this year, our Chris. Dark horse.
The Kerry boys left us down, it wouldn't show up.
Don't listen to him, Colin.
We've only two left feet down here.
If Johnny hadn't have played football, the recce probably would have gone far better, because he was sulking a little bit, to be honest.
Colin, the Kerry boys don't start playing football till August, really, isn't that the way it is?
Yeah, I don't know. I wasn't blessed with the fucking the good left foot anyway. Yeah,
But Conor, sorry.
Put in the track off here, yeah.
Conor,
that's my right foot.
But, you know, as we were saying there to Conor Harvey, like the traditional stages, but with the wee twists and turns on them, like, you know, you've seen them, all these twists and turns over the years, but I think this year really worked with the 3 stages done twice on the Friday, and then the 8 stages on the Saturday, which is, you know, breaks it up that you're not just repeating the 3 stages over again. I think that was a nice wee addition there from the club this year.
Yeah. Do this last year. I actually got to watch Saturday because my engine builder forgot to put a few parts in the car. But whenever we got to watch Saturday, I actually stayed at the one stage for the 3 passes, and I felt I missed out because you were just watching the same spot because you couldn't get to the second stage. And I think this year with the 2-2-2-2, I think it gives more spectators a chance to jump across the stages. And I don't know how the other boys felt, but I thought the road sections this year were outstanding. We were just flowing into stages, flowing out of stages, into service. And as for driving them, you know, 2 and 2 just means, you know, you do a few more stages. There's a bit more about the rally when you do that. And I think it worked really well. I think the organisers have to take a huge pat on the back. I mean, everybody, when they put themselves in a parapet, could be shot down, but I think this year, Eamon McGee, Brian Brogan, Tony Boyle, you know, just anybody, the guards, even Paul McGee, you know, done an outstanding job. I just think this year they got it right. I do, Kevin. I think it was tip of the hat to them, really do.
Yeah, Frank, that's something we probably should bring in, is the way the Garda kept the traffic flowing this year. Like the holding area at the end of Fanad and then the holding area coming into Letterkenny. Like, I don't know how ordinary spectators, but like, we found that that holding area at the end of Fanad, that was just magical. And then the holding area in Letterkenny just allowed that the rally wasn't blocking up. You know, there obviously spectators were getting hemmed in, but the rally traffic itself was flowing quite nicely.
It went much better than it did any year before, in my opinion. Coming down from the Mountain Head stages, coming down that area, you know, that was a fair long run, and we were limping along, no wipers, and not being able to see out of the yoke, and it was raining inside the car, but that's another story. And next thing, Garda, a grader comes past us, and he was waving at me, and I said, here we go. But he was to tuck in behind him, and then it was 90 mile an hour white line the whole way to Letterkenny, and you know, he was fantastic. He knew what he was doing, you know, professional, doing the job. Instead of, you know, God help us in the north here, would have been all booked and jailed probably, but for the right reasons, getting the whole thing flowing, getting it through, getting us out of the people's way, and you know, everybody was delighted, everybody was happy it was happening. And I from what I seen around Letterkenny the whole weekend, things were just that little bit easier to get from A to B. It was just that little bit easier. There was a bit more flow. The traffic lights at that roundabout at Mount Errigal seems to be a success as well. I'm assuming there were some wee fellas sitting up looking with the remote control going, yeah, time to move them. It didn't look to be timed or anything, you know, it looked to be, you know, wherever the urge was, they needed to let it go, and they were able to control it. So, no, a big thumbs up for that point of view. Oli Benton still can't direct his way out of a wet paper bag, but that's completely another story. But then he is a foreigner, to be fair.
The bit that worries me is that Frank was actually fit to take information from a foreigner. He fully believed me.
I travelled the world.
It's fluent many languages.
No, in all fairness, the plan would have been successful if
the plan was good. The plan was good. The execution wasn't great, and I'm still hoping there's no CCTV cameras for where we did end up going, because my registration will be honest.
Conor Harvey, you're a Letterkenny man. Like, you know, you've seen over the years, like, you know, how caught up the traffic can be in one thing and another. Like, I genuinely do feel that things were a bit easier this year. And like, what's the general opinion around Letterkenny?
Definitely a major success as far as anybody I've been talking to, you know. As Frank said, I was behind him coming up the road. on the Friday with the escort, and there seemed to be motorbike cops everywhere, like, you know, and they were more than obliging. They seemed to just be out there to help you out, you know, and then even the flow of the traffic around the town, and they diverted us down via the Ballyer direction and Milford to go to the Saturday stages, and coming back even on Sunday evening we came down through Milford, and they had I don't know, bunting and stuff up, and there was there's a couple of hundred people in the main street in Milford, all out cheering, and we children. It was brilliant. Like, you know, I would say, I think that's my 13th time doing Donegal, and I would say it's probably the best one I've done, really. Like, you know, I did miss, now, as Conor said, Karen Hill not being on it, because it's the closest stage I have, you know, and I love it. I think it's a brilliant stage, but from a mixture of stages and going down the show and the traffic and the management of the whole thing, that was definitely, I think, a great success this year now.
Sure. And Chris, you know, that on Sunday evening coming off fan it, and then being able to, you know, have a wee bit of downtime, have that wee bit of banter rather than the panic and rushing back into Letterkenny. It was nice just to have that wee bit of time with the other competitors.
Yeah, we'd make it against inside in the orchard waiting for us to come on for a lock of pints after, and extra day after that being there. No, one thing I would like to say, I would say Conor Harvey there had an amazing drive, and what he done was just outstanding, and the times he was putting in all weekend long, it was amazing. Like, the man is so talented and stuff. Like, pity he doesn't do more rallying. Well, maybe not, because we're not ready for it, or to be not left around the rest, because he'd have us all blown out of the water. But fair play to him. And another thing too, fair play to John Mack and Declan too. Like, there was no one. I had two people tipped to win the rally. It was Damien Tourish and Declan Gallagher, and because I raced Declan here in Limerick a couple of weeks before, and I see what he done in Baltinglass the weekend before, or the 2 weeks before Donegal, and I knew them two men were going to be either Tourish or well, there's no way you could rule out Kevin Gallagher, but there's no one going to beat Declan, and once Declan got going on Friday, that's why even I said I just sit back here and see what way it plays out, because again, an amazing job from them, and definitely the drive of rally goes to Conor Harvey, without a doubt.
Yeah, because you know, Frank, I'm sure you'll agree there. Like, for the times he was putting up in a Class 13 car, it was just outstanding.
It was fantastic, but he just said that he's done this rally 13 times. Maybe it wasn't that good a drive.
I was thinking the same thing myself, but I was trying to give him the benefit of the doubt.
Yeah, to be fair, the rest of us are all at the coalface, you know, week in, week out, getting as much mileage as possible. I know what it's like trying to step into a yoke after a long time out and trying to get up to speed. You know, any man that wasn't, even Declan Gallagher, you know, did a couple of rallies on the run up to get the speed back again. For Conor to step in, and it's funny, and don't take us the wrong way, Conor, but you know, when I was telling Lauren, you know, right, we need to watch that bollocks, he's going to go really quick, and Conor Harvey says, "Who's Conor Harvey?" And I said, you're soon going to find out who Conor Harvey is. And on Friday, she says, "I know who Conor Harvey is." It's just not a name she was used to, you know, and the usual, when we're going to do a day rally or somewhere, you know, it's not the usual name that pops up. So now she got an education that way.
And Conor Curley, did you feel you were one of them bollockses as well?
One of the what, sorry?
One of them bollockses as well, that they were going to keep an eye on the times?
No, not at all, not at all. I'm not at the cold face, but I have to say, I know Conor a long time, and, you know, his talent is never, he's a very humble young man. He never goes looking for adulation. He just accepts it. He's very humble, he's very gracious, but he needs to understand how good he is. Like, I don't know if he just is being very humble, but he is such a talent, and it's a pity that you couldn't put him into an escort full time and just let him see what he can do, because I think it's for the better of the sport that people like Conor are competing. Colin O'Donoghue to come up in his first ever Donegal and set the times he does, like, that's the future. That's the boys that I'll be standing out watching sometime going, I remember competing against them. They came up, and they're only going to get quicker, Kevin. That's the worrying thing. Colin O'Donoghue, you know, will come up again along with Chris O'Callaghan, and they'll just get quicker. And like I'm just getting older. There's not a mission that I'm going to be one of the bollockses that they'll be looking for their time. I'll be one of the bollockses that'll be going, we're trying to get past one of the road section. He's zigzagging all over the road.
But Colin, to hear them kind of lovely things being said about you, and like, you are the future of the sport. You know, you are still only, you know, like, your first Donegal. You've only done Killarney a handful of times at this stage as well. Like, it must be so grateful to hear those things being said, but to be accepted into that club as well, because it's a very specialised club.
Yeah, it is funny there when Conor just said he did it 13 times. I don't feel too bad now. He didn't mean to. But no, on a serious note, is like myself and Kieran had a good conversation about coming up here, and we're we expected to be absolutely blown away for our first time coming up, and I was accepting maybe being in the top 10 if we were lucky. Look, I know there was a good few lads dropped out there in the first couple of stages. That happens, unfortunately. But no, I was absolutely. We're blown away with where we finished up. We were on the way into the last service on the way home on Friday, and Kieran was saying, "Oh, I think we're fourth," and then I'd say about 10 minutes later, "Oh no, we're fifth." I'm like, "Sure, who's in front of us?" "Oh no, Conor." So, yeah. It was I had a feeling it was that was going to happen, all right, but no, I had a massive spin, to be fair, and kind of kept his nose clean all weekend. There's a couple of videos there to show that. But no, fair play to Declan Gallagher and John Mack as well. That's a savage achievement for John there as well, to get that under the belt,
That's like I was talking to Desi on Saturday morning, and inside in Park Farm, and I goes, "Oh, how are you getting on?" And he was on, "Well, he was that far off David Moffett," and he goes to me, I goes, "Oh, Connor's in front of you." He goes, "I will not worry about him today." And then I grabbed him that evening, and I said, I told you not to rule him out today." I says, and he was smiling at me. He didn't say anything. He probably should.
Conor Edwards, you wanted to jump in there?
Yeah, I was just going to ask Conor Harvey, look, obviously fantastic drive and some brilliant times. We're only on Wednesday after the rally. So how soon do you start looking at the onboards, and do you start looking at everybody else's onboards?
Oh, I started already nearly now. I don't know. We'll see what happens. Listen, I'm not able to get out the door here. These boys are giving me such a big head. I'm getting blown away here, even locally. Like people coming up to me in the shop and saying "well done" and all this. But it's just the weekend just went well. Like that's actually only my third time finishing Donegal out of 13 starts. Like that's sort of the event it is, and I've gone out in the first stage, I think, 3 to 4 times. Like so, to even get to the finish line, I'm delighted. Like that's what it's really about to me. And I mean, we fell on with me going over the finish ramp and stuff. Like and he was delighted. It's just it's been from here too. Like it's probably a wee bit different. Like it's probably like the Clarny to Colin and that. Like it just means so much to get to the finish of your local rally, and it's such a marathon event too. It's just such a relief. Like
because we kind of do forget just how important. Like there's people that know nothing about rallying, 51 weeks of the year, but they know about Donegal, and especially the people in Donegal itself. It becomes an obsession for them. Even they might not know one driver from the next, but they know Conor Harvey, or they know the guy that comes into the shop, and suddenly you're a celebrity for that week.
That's it, yeah. Even going to the crash thing, we fell off. The teachers are out and they're like, "Oh, well done in the rally, you did great," and all that. It's just a really local thing too up here, and people like the kids on the side of the road when you're doing the road sections and that, they're all out, and the families are out, and they're all just edging you on that wee bit further, So it's just your local event, so it does mean so much more to you when it is like that,
And Conor Curley, just as well, somebody mentioned earlier as well too, about the road section going back into Letterkenny, going through Milford. Like we spoke to him in McGee last week, and about the importance of building on what was put in front, put in all those years ago. Your co-driver Nigel, his father was one of the instrumental guys behind this event. Like Milford was really where the motor club started. Yeah. To bring it back, and I know it was only a drive-through, but that was a lovely touch by the club.
The weekend actually meant a lot more to me and Nigel. Like what goes on in a rally car between two people, you sort of keep it in a rally car, but there was just a wee moment when we came off Fanad, and Nigel it just meant the world to him. Obviously his father started the rally, and he unfortunately passed away this year, and I've never heard a bad word said about Nigel or Austin Fraser. And Austin Fraser was the coalface at the start. And it was just when we went down through Milford, we seen Fonzie McElwee there, who was one of the founder members and one of the people who originally got the rally going. And I just looked at Nigel, and it's just, it was a lovely gesture. They just got a lot of things right, Kevin. And, it's so important not to just concentrate on the stages, but there's other things like I actually am in favour. I know it's probably a bit silly to say this, but the service park in Letterkenny, I think, works because you're driving. Some people don't like it, but I do. But I'm not against it being anywhere else. But I just think it's a more open place. You're going into Letterkenny, you go back out Letterkenny through different places. But no, hey, the Motor Club need to take a lot of credit for what they do. It was brilliant. Like I didn't even know about Milford till we came down and through it. And I thought, is there a football match on? What's going on here? And it was just brilliant. It was a great feeling. And I don't normally get to see that many people because I'm usually that far back in the stages.
and then another Conor, like Nigel got the opportunity along with his mother to present, the two-wheel drive winner co-driver, as part of the memorial for his father and all. And like wee things like that, just like that meant the world to that family.
Oh, you've no idea. Actually, when Austin passed away, I spoke to Nigel, and it was Nigel wanted to do something for him. And, I've never heard him, request anything in my life. Nigel just goes along. He's the most decent young fella God ever put on this planet. But he just, I don't know, I just think that it meant the world to him. Like, he's obviously lost he's an only child, which probably made it a wee bit harder that he doesn't have a big family circle. But Doreen was there. She presented the award. They're a humble family. They don't go looking for adulation. They don't go looking for credit. They just do the wee thing. And I think to honour Austin was a lovely touch by the Motor Club. And funny enough, because I finished where I finished in the national, which was, for me was like winning the rally. We were close enough that he could go up to the ramp and present the prize. So I don't know if I take any credit for getting around that weekend so he could present the prize to another co-driver, because he was never winning it with me, Kevin.
But Colin,
what a great weekend.
Yeah, Colin, you didn't see the finish, but like you seen, the atmosphere, you seen the crowds. Like the crowds this year were just unbelievable.
Yeah, it is. Like I haven't seen crowds like that, and fellas hanging off ditches and a Belgian flag. Frank, as I remember that.
Yeah.
We
got the Belgian flag in Mamor, and I didn't hear the next two notes. I was kind of giggling to myself. But no, it's class. We always wanted to experience the Donegal atmosphere, and we got our first taste of it kind of this year. So yeah, no, it is absolutely a spectacular spectacle put on by them, and they do deserve a credit and fair play to the Motor Club. And yeah, we'll 100% be back next year.
Yeah, and Frank, I suppose just something there Colin touched on, like Belgium, French, God only knows where else from, Welsh, English. Donegal attracts a lot of these. They want to come, they want to see the spectacle, they want to see what all the hype's about. And no doubt you have helped create that. You're the guy out there, saying if you're coming to Ireland, come to Donegal. It's lovely to see those people taking their own time and their own money to come and to see what all the hype's about.
Most of the time, it's a throwaway comment. So people ask you what rally could we come to in Ireland, and the first thing you say is Donegal in June. And you never think any more of it until you see them and they walk up to you in the service area in Donegal, Letterkenny, and the Belgian flag, the French flag, the Welsh lads. You're just blown away. And you think, Jesus, these bollocks actually listen to what I said, when they arrived here. And then, the whole atmosphere and the whole weekend. I think the Belgian lads have been in touch with me since. They messaged me to thank us for doing nothing essentially, but they had such an experience. They just, it was 10 times what they thought it was going to be. Because usually you're worried about people coming and getting disappointed and thinking, there's no bus takes you to here, and there's no this, that, the other. The lads had done 1,200 kilometres by start of day 3 in their hire car. I don't know if there's a limit in their mileage or what, but they're going to get hit with a stung with a bill, I would imagine. But they just couldn't get over it. They couldn't get over it, and the friendliness. And, they're worried about getting around stages and stuff. And I said, lads, you go to the first stage in the first corner and you start talking to people around you, you'll get sorted from there. They had people offering to take them here, take them there, to feed them, to water them. They were blown away with the whole thing. And that's Ireland, full stop, but especially Donegal, and for ourselves as competitors, it's great to see that. But, people forget the investment that goes into doing that rally. And I don't mean just money. the time investment, the financial investment, yes, the preparation of the car, of the stages, of the recce and the effort that's put in, and that week and the run up to that week. And then you're on the start line on Friday and you're going, don't fuck this up. Don't fuck it up. Try and get through the first stage, try and get to then a Friday, and then get into Saturday, and then it's get down the hill on Sunday evening, to see the finish ramp. And like the lads have said, win, lose or draw, getting down that hill is just unbelievable. And for me, it's even, I'm lucky with Lauren. I'm not a softie by any means, but Jesus Christ, it's so hard to hold it together when you go over the finish line in Fanad after driving your balls off and having that much fun, and then going down the road and trying not to be a blowing mess, trying to get your shit together and say, I'm not saying a word because it'll only go wrong, And it's class. It's a great feeling, and especially in Donegal, especially after 3 days, especially, all that, and the pride in the car, the pride in everything, the lads around you that have got there and that have helped you to get there, and you hope you've helped them to get there. And it doesn't, yes, it matters who wins, but to me, it doesn't matter. It's just, you won because you done it, and we can talk about this for years, and, in a roof space today, trying to get a cable turned into a wee bastard hole that was fighting on me, I just thought, Jesus, wouldn't it be nice to be back in Fanad at the minute, pulling 6 gear, heading for that chicane. But that's what keeps me buzzing, and I don't know how ordinary people survive. I really don't know.
And Conor Harvey, I suppose we'll give the last word to you. Harvey, a name was synonymous with Donegal over the years. That name, your forefathers were one of the people behind the original club. To hear spoke about so highly, see people travelling from across the world to come, it must fill you with pride to see where the rally's at now and where it can go to.
Yeah, for sure. It's an amazing event, it always has been, since I remember. And I remember, all the Works British guys coming over, and then you'd McCrae and that, and you'd Loeb here, and it was there. It's been a phenomenal event for years, and always has. Probably a bit of a victim of its own success, as in what it brings along to the town times. Probably isn't always the best thing, but that's not really the rally itself. COVID kind of proved that when the rally wasn't on, the event still happened. So it can still, I think this year they're saying Knockalla, the car park was full in Knockalla. They couldn't get any more people into Knockalla. Had to stop and turn the people. That's never happened before. So it just shows the crowds are growing again year on year. They seem to be getting bigger and bigger. And and the money, the knock on effect. I was even going into the barbers to get my haircut on the Thursday before the rally, and barber, I was like, you'll probably be quiet over the weekend, and he said, yeah, we'll be quiet. There'll not be much happening on Friday or Saturday, but he says we're so busy in the run up to the rally because all the young boys are getting their hair cut to go out and all the rest. And he says I think his daughter was working in I don't know, one of the nightclubs, one of the bars, and she was getting a whole heap extra shifts and a whole heap extra money, so all that knock on, that's all been spent around the town and around the county, so it's massive for Donegal itself,
What can we say about that? That was first class. Really, I'm still giggling when I even think of some of the things that we said there, And as one of the competitors said after we were recording, that was as close to the start of a stage as that they get. The crack them guys have between the stages. I think we caught some of it there, So that that means the world to us there, Conor, for hearing things like that.
Oh, it does. And, the banter, the crack between them, but also, the camaraderie between them as well, and the respect they had for the effort that Conor Harvey put in that event.
That's for sure. I think we're going to struggle to get one of them on their own again. I think they'll all want to come on as a group as well too, but that's a problem for another day, So that was part 1 of the Donegal review. That's season 3, episode 21. If you like what you hear, please leave a review, or you can leave a wee comment. Would be gratefully appreciated. But until the next time, take care, speak soon, and bye.